Okay, do you have out your number slip? Are you ready to roll?
Hey, get your number slip out. Get it up.
There was a group last week that got like the highest points I've seen.
Hold on. How many was it?
It was not your group.
No, because we got 19 one day.
No, it was overall one that was.
Okay, we got 19.
Something is behind. I need to apologize for that. I have graded like it's in my grade book. I just haven't physically typed stuff into iNow. So I'm going to remind you of what stuff to do. It's table 2. It had 61 in a week where 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Now, I was counting the 2 days and the full week, so you could have gotten it out of 35. So yes, they got 61, but it's out of 35. So it's not like it was only at 25. But yeah, they had a 61. But I had other groups that were just as close. In fact, every group in here ended up with higher than the 35. It was just, I thought it was ridiculous at how high theirs was. I think I ended up rounding down anyway. But so they had the highest I've seen. Although group 4 was very, very close. And I'm telling you, every group had done well. Except for the one that was super chatty. I wonder which group it was. Okay.
I was table 3.
Clearly. Always 3. So as a reminder, no, won't do that yet. Okay, let's talk about these macro stops and then we'll look at our notes and I'll remind you some stuff then. Oh. We need to handle number 8. First things first. First period knew the answer. Second period did not, which is strange. So let's see how third does. What do I do with the negative under the radical? 5 points. I'm going to use my handy dandy I. So it's now 2i square root of 67 x to the third y to the 8th. Anytime there's a negative under the radical, that's why we use I. Okay, can we break down 67? Is anything times anything 67? Besides 1 and 67. No, and then my next question was going to be what words do we use? And I was even going to tell you it starts with a P. So the fact that you knew all that is genius. You can have 2 points. So 2i square root of 67. Now to deal with the x's and the y's and their exponents. Yes, so you can have your point. Okay, so it's an odd exponent, x to the third. That's why we ended up having 1 at home. Y to the 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4. If you've forgotten and you need to use circle buddies, you can. X to the third, I circle 1 pair. That's why this x got to come out. This x is left all alone at home. That's why he's in the house. It would also work out with y to the 8. If you did all the circle pairs, there would be 4 pairs. That's why it's y to the 4. If you need to do that, you can. Moving on to number 9. Number 9 does not have a negative under the radical, so it should be a little nicer. What times what is 120? 10 and 12, yes, but doesn't one of the numbers need to be a perfect square for us to reduce the radical? Or 10 and 12 perfect square numbers? No. Is 20 or 6 a perfect square?
Nope.
So I'm needing perfect squares.
Hold on, let me think of that.
Yeah, it's 4 and 30.
Yeah, I thought
Okay, so I'll give you your point and you tell me, so what does that mean my answer is going to be? Okay. Okay, I'm going to let I'm going to let 2 and 5 get a point. Because they both name that. Can't stand it being $2 million. Okay, so yes, 4 times 30, so we said it's 2 square root of 30. We dealt with the numbers. X to the 11th, that's odd, so I know there's going to be 1 left. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so that's perfect. 5 is odd, so there's 1 left. 4 divided by 2 is 2, that's perfect. Number 9 is perfect. Any questions about number 9? Number 10 is my favorite. Okay, Abigail, say all your words again. 10i. Square what? Square root of 8? So there is a mistake in this, which is what Landon's wanting me to correct. So yes, the 10, yes, the I. I'm good with the 10. I'm good with the I. I'm good with the X and the X here. I'm good with the Y to the 4th. What I'm not good with is that square root of 8. So originally before she got a little crazy on me, it used to be square root of 64. Everyone agrees with that? It was negative 64. One loose point. It was a negative 64, but we dealt with that negative by bringing out the I. So, but I know what the square root of 64 is. What is the square root of 64? Okay, so Abigail said square root of 64 was square root of 8, so she had one teeny tiny mistake. She needs to bring out the 8. That's still not the final answer. Yes, dear. Yes. I know 10 times 8 is 80. I can go one more step. Okay, that one is my favorite because of the negative 64, because I realized that was 8i to begin with. I was hoping you would too. It's funny that that's where you got hung up on. That's funny. Okay, there are lots of different things we can do on number 12. Any suggestions for a first step? I could deal with that exponent first. I'm not going to, but that is a good suggestion. Table 2, get a point. Okay, Landon is in my universe, so Jessica and Abigail are trying to deal with that negative 2. I say let's postpone the inevitable doom. Why can't we reduce the inside PEMDAS, right? Parentheses first. Is there some simplifying we could do inside before we deal with that negative 2? Which is what Landon wanted to do, so he said he was going to deal with that negative 3. The x to the negative 3. I don't disagree with that. If we wanted to deal with the inside, what's 2 divided by 12? So I've got a 1/6. And then I've got x to the what power? I do, but what if I go ahead and do some steps in my head? So what would be in the bottom? Okay, and then y to the what power in the numerator? Okay. I agree with this. For those of us who aren't, I get, it's been a long week. You hadn't had to do that much math, so Ms. Thompson's trying to be real deep here on a Friday. I understand. You're cool with the 2 divided by 12 reduces to 1/6. 6 minus 1 is y to the 5th. Negative 3 minus 2 is x to the negative 5. All we're going ahead and doing is we were being smart and in our head, moving that negative 5 to the bottom.
Compton?
Yes, ma'am.
May I have Dalen Rodriguez to the main office?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So that's all we're doing, trying to be a little smart with that. Now that we have completely simplified the inside, life is looking a little nicer, we can now be brave and deal with that negative 2. So if I raise y to the 5th to the negative 2, I get y to the what? Yes, 2 get a point. And so I've got y to the negative 10 in the numerator. In the denominator, I have 6 to the negative 2, and x to the 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Are there any questions about this? Now, I wrote it this way on purpose. Why did I write it that way? Tell me about the exponents. They are all negative. So what should my next step read? Yes, and 2 and 5, you both explained it. Seriously, everybody was negative, so we flipped them all. 6 and X were on the bottom, now they're on the top. Y was on the top, now he's on the bottom. We're flipping them all. Yes, dear. I left it that way on purpose. So yes, Landon's right, and he's going to get the last point, because there's one more step. 6 squared is 36, so it's 36x to the 10th, y to the 10th. He's asking why I didn't deal with it back here, because I knew it was a number. Deep words on a Friday. 6 to the negative 2 would be 1 over 36, so it would be like having a fraction, and then having 1 over 36 in the denominator, and you being smart enough to realize, hey, a fraction within a fraction, that means that's really in the numerator. And that's real deep on a Friday. That made it a lot easier for those of us who are having a long week to just wait till it ends. Okay, besides Landon's question, which was good, it's okay if you didn't understand that part. Is everyone cool with 36 x to the 10th over y to the 10th? Okay, if there are no questions about this, let's go look at your notes packet. Let's talk about all the things and make sure we're on the same page. And I'm going to use the scary word of test. We do not want to get behind. We're not behind yet. We don't want to get behind because that's not good. We don't want that to happen. So instead, we are going to power through, meaning we are going to go ahead, because we've got very little left in this section, and I swear I can say all the words I need to say, and we can test on this on Tuesday. Now that sounds scary. Let me say some other things before you're like, oh my god, a test Tuesday with something? I don't remember any of this, but you do, and I have nice words to say. So, the very, no, but close. No, DJ, but very close. You didn't have a point for that.
Don't we get to use that sheet you gave us?
You can use that. No one else has thought to ask that. You have a point. The one that was like long division help that I passed out like the very first day. Yes, forever ago. Yes, she's the first one to bring it back up. Okay. DJ was joking, but he's almost correct. Let me tell you how he's almost correct. Last Friday, and yesterday when I was on here, you had the same directions on Friday and then again on this past Thursday. The directions were work on your study guide. It's the last page of your notes packet. You were supposed to work on it. Now, I don't know what you did. I had a positive review, so I'm going to leave you good points and pretend like you worked on what you were supposed to work on. If you did, you're off to a great head start because, as discussed, I've already given you class time. Now I've given you 2 days worth of class time to work on this study guide. You're not going to get a third day out of me. So I'm done giving class time for this. However, you still want to get this done. Even though it's not going to be a grade for once. And the reason it's not going to be a grade for once, DJ can use this on the test. I'm going to post my key to this later this afternoon. You can use your study guide on the test. Now, do I think you need it? No. The only reason I think it might be useful is just because it's been such a long stretch the past 3 weeks. Maybe DJ has a blind moment and he forgot the difference between long division and synthetic or whatever. So it would be nice for him to have something to reference. So you can use the study guide on the test on Tuesday. However, I'm not giving you a day full of class. So if you don't bother to look at the answers on Google Classroom or you don't bother to get it done yourself and you have a blank study guide come Tuesday, bless your heart, you've got a blank study guide to stare at and help you on the test. That is life. Okay. Speaking of the study guide, 1 through 5 are really dealing with our math workshop stuff. If I was needing help, I would look at our math workshop. 6 through 11, you would like me to say some words about, so I'm going to come back to these in a few minutes. The directions on 6 through 11 are why you want me to come back. Does someone know why the directions are different than our notes? Where are they different? 2 and 3 get a point. number of terms. So this is why we're going to have to come back to 6 through 11, because that little tiny three-word thing, number of terms, I need to address 6 through 11. 12 through 19, long division or synthetic division, and in fact, I've crossed out the words so you get to pick. Yay, even better. And then the very bottom 4, they are just state the degree. So the highest exponent, that's easy. The only ones we don't know how to do are the 3 graphic ones on the back. And while I'm going to go over that, and we're going to talk about that today and Monday, the truth is, Abby Grace is a smart girl. And never have I ever taken the graphing calculator away from Abby Grace. So even if she doesn't necessarily understand my words today or Monday, Lord knows she knows how to put this in her calculator, press graph, and then sketch at her best what she sees on the graph on the paper. So even if Abby Grace tunes me out today and Monday, which I pray she doesn't because we've already discussed she really could kill her 39 weeks straight if she tunes out. Anyway, Abby Grace is smart enough. She can graph this on her calculator and sketch that graph below and call it a day and me be happy enough with it, even if she doesn't understand the words I say, like zeros, leading coefficient, degree, even if she doesn't understand multiplicity. I'm going to say a couple words that are supposed to help us graph. Even if she doesn't understand those words, she can still do this if she knows how to graph. That's all if. Okay, let's look back at the beginning of the packet. So we started off this whole new year with long division. Did someone try a long division problem on the study guide and they got stuck and they would like me to work it? Okay, first didn't either. Second did. First didn't. So it's fine. I'm assuming that means you're good to go. Or that means you haven't done it, so you need to try it and then see my key anyway. Okay, so long division. We spent some time on it. But we also discussed that sometimes life is really nice. And instead of even having to do anything, we could just pull out a GCF and it end up making life work out. Very rarely does that happen. But we did have a couple examples of that, so maybe there'll be one on the test like that where you could pull out a GCF and never have to do this long division stuff. Okay, after long division, we discussed synthetic division. Synthetic division was supposed to make our lives easier. It was. It was supposed to be a lot faster than long division. We're still getting the same answers, but we're not spending near the amount of time. However, I personally don't like synthetic division with certain problems. For 2 points, can you tell me what problems I would not use synthetic division with? Yes, dear. I would not use it with fractions. How can you tell a problem can be a fraction problem? Yes, dear. Yes. And you can have your 2 points. Okay, so I would use synthetic on number 1 because there is a 1 in front. So life works out well. I'm just using a 4. I would not use synthetic division on number 3. That 3 in front ends up making it a fraction. My gosh, if we're going to have to do all this math with fractions, I would rather just do long division anyway. Just my personal preference. And I will make sure it's that way on the test as well. So if there's a number in front and you want to be like me and use long division, totally understand. If you want to be rebellious, as long as you've shown me you understand long division on something else, it'll be fine. Okay, so we did long division, synthetic division, and then randomly, we did this page full of evens. Now, most people have showed me their math lists, and most people have showed me their synthetic division worksheet. However, the one I'm missing the most of is this page, the evens from this page. Is there anyone who did one of these even problems, especially towards the end, like 16, 18, or 20, and they need me to work it out? Yes, dear. Yeah, what? Oh, no. Anyway, if you've done this and I've not seen it, no big deal. Seriously, there's problems behind. I have all my grades written down, just haven't typed them in right now. I swear to goodness, I'm fixing that this weekend. So if you know you haven't shown me this evens, and you weren't out with the flu dying, you would like to show me today before I put in the zeros. Okay. When I stop rambling, come show me so we can rectify this. Was there anyone who had a question about one of the evens? Okay, then after we talked about the evens, we went on to degree and leading coefficient. We talked about how nice it was, how easy it was, how even if it's not, even if they don't write it from highest to lowest, the highest exponent is always the degree. The number in front of that exponent is always the leading coefficient. Like on number 3, the highest was 7, so the leading coefficient is a negative 21. And then we talked about, like on 5 through 8, sometimes they're not as nice, and we kind of have to guess the degree and the leading coefficient. And this is where I want to go back to your study guide. So I told you last week, I said, I just look at it and I know. And I explained how I knew, for instance, the degree was 2, because 2 plus 1 is 3. And I'm not wrong, and my guess is correct. But when you go to your study guide, your study guide is like combining the 2 pages. It's combining the page where we did the even along with the page where we had to do degree and leading coefficient. So now we not only have to do degree and leading coefficient, but we also have to do number of terms. So before, I would have just guessed. I would have said degree, probably a 2. Leading coefficient, I don't know. I normally would have said a 1, but maybe I'm smart and I'm foiling in my head and I'm like, probably a 25. And then here's the part where I'm straight up guessing, which is never a good thing. You want to take a guess at the number of terms. A good educated guess. Yes, dear. Guess it. Oh yeah, and you can have a point. So Brady understands in his head he's already foiled this out. He already knows that these answers are correct. He's good to go. In reality, do most of us feel that way? No. So what we should probably do is, even though we don't really want to work it out, it probably is best for us to actually work this out and FOIL it out. So first, 25m squared, outer, negative 30m. It's number 7 on your study guide. Enter, negative 30m. And then last, plus 36. When I combine my 2 like terms, I have 25m squared minus 60m plus 36. Okay, I FOILed really quickly. So even though last week I told Allison she didn't have to work it out in order to figure out degree and leading coefficient, let's be honest, if she wants to make sure she's 100% correct, wouldn't kill her. And now for sure I know leading coefficient is a 25, the degree is a 2, and the number of terms really is 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I guessed that purple list to begin with and I got it right. But unless you're a genius and you know you can guess that list, Lord knows it wouldn't kill you to do a little math. So like on number 5, no not 5, number 6, it would not kill DJ to combine his like terms. Because right now, DJ counts, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. But he's smart. When he combines his like terms, it's suddenly not going to be 6 terms still. So why don't you do your math first and then make the list? That would be my suggestion on 6 to 11. I'm sorry it was different than the notes that we had done. Why they had to add a number of terms now, just to annoy me, I don't know. Okay, is everyone cool?
Can you take number of terms up too?
No, I don't have that much control on life.
Wait, so it's just like,
How many terms are there at the end? 1, 2, 3.
that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, and so if you already knew, like on number 1, I already know they all combine, so it's going to be in 3, number 6. I already know it's going to be 3 terms. I already know the leading coefficient is 7. I already know the degrees of 2. Like, if you know it, great. If not, actually work it out. Okay, let's go back to where I left off the other day. Okay, so we had degree, and we never got to this, which is why our top learning target today says I can evaluate polynomial functions. But let's be honest, I'm only going to work one of these. I don't really think you have to do the independent practice unless you feel like you need to practice. We tested on this at the beginning of the year. If you don't know what to do, I am so sad. They want to know W at 5, so what does that mean I should do? Yeah, so everywhere I see an X, I put a 5. Everybody in the room should know what to do on number 5. It said W at 5. So everywhere inside my function that I had an x, it used to be negative 2x to the third. Now it's negative 5 to the third. Everybody in the room should have known how to do that. Now, is there potential that DJ is going to make a sign error? Absolutely, because it happens to the best of us. But even if DJ makes a sign error and doesn't end up at negative 247, he at least shows me what he's supposed to do when he evaluates. I'm going to give him most of his points. So, we had 2 things to learn today. Seriously, we already knew how to do the first one. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is going to take today and Monday, hence why I said the test is Tuesday, not Monday. Looking below, were there any questions about that? Okay. Looking below, we don't talk about this a lot, but standard form, factored form, we've dealt with both forms. In standard form, yeah, leading coefficient, degree, that's easy to figure out. Factored form's nice though because it instantly tells you the zeros. For instance, I know the zeros on this problem are negative 2 and negative 3. So I need help with the zeros of the next 3 problems. What are the zeros on number 1? Say it again. Okay, and that would remind me to refresh your memory. We're supposed to take each of them, set them equal to 0. Yes. So in order to figure out the zeros, we take each term, like x plus 1, and set it equal to 0. So it ends up being the opposite sign. So we had a positive 1, our 0 ends up being negative 1. We had a negative 1, our 0 ends up being positive 1. If you remember it's the opposite sign thing, you don't have to show the gray work. If you want to, you can. So you can have your point. Okay, on number 2, what are my zeros? I gave you a pity point a second ago too, so I'm gonna keep that one in and give this one to 1. Okay, on number 3, how many zeros are there? There are 3.
It's positive 3, negative 1, and 0.
Oh my gosh, Caitlin, you can have 2 points.
Good job, Caitlin.
Woo. Okay, everyone's cool with the 3 and the negative 1, but everyone forgets, like we did x minus 3 equal to 0. That's how we got x equals 3. We still would just do x equals 0. That's why the first one is just a 0. Those are the 3. But again, one might argue we were already supposed to know how to find the zeros. The only new thing with that are the 2 words in bold below that say multiple 0 and multiplicity, because God bless the math teacher, can't just speak in English, got to throw in math terms and try to make this sound more complicated than it is. I want to go back to number 1 and I'm going to change them. So 1 used to be x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 3. Thank you. That used to be number 1. Let's change it. What if we change that to x minus 1? Then what are our zeros? Okay. Did anyone feel a little dumb saying the same number twice? So that's what's going to be a multiple 0. So the example we've made, we have a multiple 0. We do not feel dumb all the time. We have a multiple 0 at 1 because 1 happened on our list more than once. And then the multiplicity is a fancy way of saying how many times did it happen. Yes, 5. It happened 2 times. We said x equals 1, x equals 1. That's 2 times we said it. So the multiplicity is 2. So let's do one more example like this. I'll make a new number 2. Woo. Let's do y equals x minus 5 to the third. So that means I have y equals x minus 5, x minus 5, x minus 5. So what is my multiple 0? What?
No, it's 5 and your multiple, whatever that word is.
Multiplicity.
3.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. You can have your point. Okay, so we have a multiple 0 at 5, meaning 5 occurred on our list a couple times. It happened 1, 2, 3 times. So the multiplicity, how many times did it happen? It happened 3 times. And you're like, Miss Compton, I don't see why that's useful. And it's actually useful when we graph, which is why Miss Compton's going to be rebellious and skip the next 2 pages at the moment and go straight to page 12. The page before the study guide. And let me leave that there a second. Okay, let's go to page 12, the page before the study guide. Now, some of these problems are already in factored form, like 1 through 4. So life's gonna fly. Even if this Compton never on earth finishes all 12 of these, again, it doesn't really matter because Alice is pretty smart now. She can kind of guess what the zeros are supposed to be. She has a graphing calculator. I'm pretty sure she can still make this graph happen, even if it's something that doesn't say any more words. But I'm going to help her out a little. Okay, I have some zeros. Where are my zeros? On number 1, where are my zeros? What? Is the negative 3 out front one of my zeros? No, that's telling me if I'm stressed or shrunk or whatever. That's not one of my zeros. What are my zeros? Negative 1, positive 3, negative 2. Okay, so seriously, I'm putting those points in my graph. Negative 1, positive 3, negative 2. My graph has to go through those 3 points, for sure. And I'm going to note that that one has a multiplicity of 2. Okay, so we know we've got a negative graph because that negative number out front. So I'm assuming this is a sad one. So I'm going to start off down here when I connect the dots. So I'm going to go like this and then come back down through that one. And again, I'm doing this in pencil because Miss Compton made me completely wrong. That negative 3 probably stretches me, so I'm probably supposed to go a lot higher in that loop than I did. I'm just guessing today. I'm just connecting dots based off where I put those blue dots. Okay. I come and you're like, okay, well, you got to hit that point. Feel like Pac-Man or some sort of game. But we just discussed the positive 3 has a multiplicity of 2. Anything that has a multiplicity, that's going to be a really special point. When we had a multiplicity in with parabolas, that was always where the vertex was. So what that means is the loop is going to happen there at that point. So I may not know a lot, but I know for sure because the multiplicity is 2. At this point, it needs to be a U. Now, how fat or skinny that U is, I don't know. I have to actually graph it and think things through when it comes to degree and leading coefficient. But for sure, because the multiplicity is 2, this point's important, and I know the loop actually has to happen there. But again, Miss Compton's just guessing. Now, Galen's going to graph it on her calculator. Probably figure out a prettier guess than this using her graphing calculator. But for sure, regardless, she better have, when I grade it, I'm going to look, does she have the zeros on her graph? If she at least has the zeros on her graph, she's going to get most of the points from me. Okay, number 2. Where are my zeros? Negative 1 and 0. So this one tells me I have a 0 at 0. And this one tells me I have a 0 at -1. But I know that the multiplicity is 2. So I know at -1, I'm going to have to do a weirdo loop. Okay, again, I'm guessing, so I'm still doing stuff with pencil. I know those two spots have to be hit. I know that since this one has a multiplicity of 2, it's going to be a special one. So it was a negative out front, so I'm going to start down here. It's a sad one. I'm assuming it's going to look like this through that point because of the multiplicity of 2. And then it's got to come back up and cut through that point real fast. I need to work on my life. Maybe it looks like they both have a multiplicity of 2. Let's complicate it together. So it also needs to do the little u through that point. So mine looks ugly, so I'm going to do it in pen because I'm being brave. I know it's going to loop through here. I know it also needs to loop through there. And you're like, Miss Compton, why do you know the hook happens there? Because this one has a multiplicity of 2, and that one has a multiplicity of 2. Now again, I did it in pen because I'm being a Dumbo. Could it be more stretched than what I've done? Yes. But I know since it's negative, it is going to be down. And I know because of those multiplicities and where those zeros happen, then it has to look like that. Okay, let's try number 3, and then we'll call it a day on this. Well, I've got one more tiny thing to say, but we will call it a day. I always have something to say. Okay. Okay, 4. He's left one out. -2 and -3. He's still left one out. It's still a 0. You got one at 0. You got one at 4. You still got one at 2. And you've got one at -3. Now I should probably write down some notes to myself about multiplicity. The 4 has a multiplicity of 2. The -3 has a multiplicity of 2. And oh Lord, the 2 has a multiplicity of 3. Okay, it's a positive number out front, so I'm assuming if I started on this end, we're a happy face today. So I'm going to, because that one's a positive number. So I'm assuming it's starting like this. -4. That's not -4, that's -3. -3 has a multiplicity of 2, so I'm assuming I've got to have a loopsie-doo happening at -3. Now, oh no, I'm also assuming, because, so I know I have this, I'm also assuming because -2 has a multiplicity of 3, my gosh, I gotta go through it a couple times, so maybe I gotta I don't know, I'm just guessing. Yeah, maybe you can do like a super loop, I don't know. And then you've gotta come through 0, and then it says you gotta go through 4 multiplicity of 2, so it's gotta be a loop you do at 4. I know, mine got ugly. Give me yours. Give me yours. Landon, don't tune out yet. Okay. Erase what you did. Don't miss something wrote in pen. I'm still in Abbott Grace's because she followed directions and wrote in pencil. Okay. Just slowly but surely. I see that -3 had a multiplicity of 2. I'm looking at the multiplicity things. Again, when I see multiplicity of 2, I know it has to go through that point and either it be like a U there or it's got to cross that point and make the curve there. Okay, so I know it's supposed to cross through 0 just the one time. I know it's happy because it's a positive number out front. So I'm assuming I'm supposed to start over here because I'm happy. And then I go down to -3. But since -3 has a multiplicity of 2, I'm assuming I should shoot right back up. You're cool with that? And then we don't know what the crap happens here. and we don't know because it says multiplicity of 3. We probably should look at our graphing calculator to make sure. We assume it just comes back down and maybe cuts through really quickly. We don't know. We're not sure. This is where the question mark would happen in life because you're like, I'm not really positive. It has to go through that, but I don't know. Now it has to go through 0 just the one time. And then it has to make a loop through here.
Miss Compton,
That's my name. Yes, ma'am.
hey, can you please send Andrew South to Student Services for a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
But I'm with Landon. Yeah. I'm with Landon, though. We're going to need to know a little more information about this multiplicity of 3. Because when we started making our guess over here is where life went to crap. No. It's 100% not a typo. So, on Monday, I will unbreak Landon's heart and tell him stuff like, I can guess that this is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, it should keep looping back and forth. So, we're going to erase on Monday and correct this graph. If it's to the 8, it should have 4 good loops. Yes, dear. Yeah. We do. On Monday, we'll talk about, you know how it says general shapes over there? We'll talk about, like, if it's a 4, what you should expect it to look like. If it's a 3, what you should expect it to look like. That way you don't look like crazy when you guess. Okay, I'm done rambling. Hold on. If you need to show me things like he's trying to, the even, I never saw your evens. If you're confused about that third one, I swear to goodness, it's going to be okay.